folks, welcome back to the channel. We are working on the ECM. I retaped some stuff that I wasn't too thrilled with, and we have our bracket on. I'll be honest, this was the one we started with on the last video. It was a little off. This was a prototype, and now we have the finished product, but it does clear. Got about an inch there, quarter inch there, about a half inch there, and the harness will all fit. So we're gonna go ahead and get this harness fully secured to the engine, and then probably do our fuel lines. So that way we can get that done. And then I think I'm gonna tackle some of the like steering and stuff before we set this in, just to make my life a little easier. But either way, we're making it happen. We made our fuel lines. This fitting showed up, so we did a swivel M12 by 1.56, 6 to 8, and then 8. So it is restricted into the pump anyway, so we just kind of stuck with it. This line doesn't have any real tension on it. It can go forward and back, so it's not a big deal. Sorry, kids just got home. But we got both of our feeds in. So anyway, everyone just got home. We got our sensor moved over here, just to give us more room on the harness. We plugged that. We're feeding the back part. I did open that fitting up because it was a Chinese one. And then everything else is 8 to the pumps, the 6 there, pump coming there. And then we got our harness all routed and retaped. This I really liked. It kind of just jammed in here, and that is down there. You'll never see it. So we are really close to being able to put this in. So for steering, we kept it real simple. I just ordered another Moog kit. I've had good luck with them. I think they got to be pretty close out of the box, so we're just going to throw it in there. Maybe I'll regret it, maybe I won't. And then we got our Synergy track bar, which the only thing I will say, my hate for Synergy maybe just needs to die. And the reason why I hated them for so long is it just took forever to get the parts. I wish I know what that was for. And that was always my biggest complaint, was it was just like, it took too long to get. But this was in stock. So maybe my hatred for them is misplaced. But apparently this is the shortest track bar you can get. And the other cool part is that we can adjust this in the truck with this collar. So we'll get a fresh track bar. Our old one was pretty locked up. And looking at the instructions, it looks pretty easy. Shouldn't be too hard, hopefully. And we'll be all right. So fresh track bar, fresh steering. And then for our lowering springs, we're gonna go ahead and just cut these off the frame here. Once we get them cut off the frame, then we will go ahead and drill and tap the frame. I'm gonna put a paint marker here where the center is, so that way I know. And we're gonna run these bump stops right here. And I know you guys are gonna ask me where I got these in the comments. I don't know, but they are made by Energy. They have rubber here. And my thought is we will just drill and tap the frame and thread these in. And I thought that would work really good. We'll still have a bump stop that contacts well. And we should be okay. So I'm gonna get to cutting. And we gotta cut both sides off. But first I'm gonna put a center mark, so that way I know where to drill our new ones. And hopefully this works out. We shall see. We're lowering it 2.5 inches. Those are 3-inch bump stops. So I don't know. The other option is we just take these out and let it go metal on metal. The other option too is we can cut these down. So I guess what I really need to do is get this thing at ride height and just see how it's gonna sit, I guess would be the best thing, huh? And that is what you're left with the old chopperoo here. Off they come. Luckily, I don't think I took any of the frame. Hopefully not. Real 50-50. I could cut the rest of that off. I just don't care. So now we're gonna drill and tap it for those little bump stops I showed you. Wish me luck. There she is. Got everything all blown off. We'll kiss it with a thing of paint. I put a nut here to kind of sandwich it. That way I can thread it in and out easier. Drilled and tapped the frame like we talked about. And I Loctited them. I Loctited it so they wouldn't rotate out. I used red Loctite on this nut, blue Loctite on the threads going in. And this, you just take a 15 mil wrench, boom, out they come. And my other thought was, if we need to adjust the height, we can adjust it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and kiss all this with a spray paint, throw these springs in, and get this thing kind of back together. I'll throw the steering track bar on and show you guys what it looks like when we're done. Okay, so time has passed again. We have our shocks in. These are the Viking double adjustable. We threw our Moog steering in, fought the Synergy, then I realized that all I had to do was run a tap through it. Thank goodness I keep M14 by 2.0 taps on the shelf. And we went with the Fleece shock towers. I still have to tighten the shocks up. Got to tighten the steering up. The track bar is torqued, but not adjusted. We can't adjust it until it's at ride height. So, with a motor in it, obviously. So we're almost at the max travel of the shocks. We got about a ½ inch up. That's kind of where it's going to have to be. We have quite a bit of down travel. So normally my truck sits 2 inches off the bump stops. We were sitting about 3 inches off the bump stops, or 2 inches off the bump stop plus the bump stop. We took 2.5 away. So we should be down about 2.5 inches on these fire trunk springs once we set this down. And then it'll probably go down even more once we put the turbos and stuff on. So I'm pretty confident we should have about 3 inches of up travel, and then we will have about 3 inches of down travel. Just kind of sucks when you get to these shocks. The next logical step is coil springs, but I wasn't ready to make that jump yet. But when we do, I think we'll hit up old Kenny Bruner and get his little bracket that he sells. Pretty affordable for what he's offering. I just didn't want to mess with it right now. So a lot of this paint's still a little wet. We did some touch-ups and stuff. I'm going to finish torquing this, and then tomorrow we'll finish this video out. We'll set the motor and the frame rails. It's pretty boring, really. We'll have to mate up the transmission, which you guys can't see. I got to make a push bar so we can flip this truck around. So this is pretty much going to be it for tonight on the video. Like I said, I'm just going to go tighten some stuff up. Again, we can't set the steering. Toe, I guess we could do toe, but we'll leave it for right now. It looks like it's honestly pretty close. I'd be surprised if it needs much. And then we will obviously paint our new steering components as well. Let that sit overnight and pick this up tomorrow. If you guys notice, we did gain a lot of clearance on the track bar to the mount, steering stabilizer as well, with it rotated down. I know some people on Fire Pump suggested it. That still didn't fix the problem of it getting tight right there. The Synergy is much thinner in diameter right there, and it gets so much shorter, and it's also not rusty, which is nice as well. So we're going to just call that good right now, but I'm excited. Got our bump stops in. We did a lot of pre-prep. So if we ever do want to go sled pull and stuff like that, we put our bump stops in. That's done. Then all we'd have to do on the rear is our adjustable suspension stops. Everything else has pretty much stayed the same. So good day of progress. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Well, boys and girls, today's the day. We're going to put that into here. Now, the only thing I'm not sure on is the alternator. I don't know if that's got to be installed before or after. So this might not go super smooth, but we're here for it regardless. Yeah, fun. All we have left really is to pop the valve cover, rocker box, harness off real quick, put the Fire Punk lifting bracket on, and then throw our passenger side motor mount on. That should be it. I think I did get our dipstick kind of tossed in there with our starter, and hopefully this doesn't fight us too much. But if it's anything like it's been this whole project, there might be a little opposition, but everything's nice and dry now. Let's get to it. And there we have it. Almost forgot the diaper. And our alternator is the wrong style. So I thought it was the side plug. I guess it's the one that comes in from the back. I think that's the 6-7 style. So I'm gonna go check what the old 17's got on her here real quick and see what alternator we need. And no big deal. Alternator's not a big deal. Getting rid of that pile of shit is ideal. Let's take a look. Nope, that one comes in from the side as well. Huh. Okay, so we got our transmission fully bolted in. We dropped that in. We did discover that we need an 07.5 to 09 alternator from a 6.7 third gen truck that has the plug and the cable on the back. Looking at this, the power steering pump situation, I'm gonna dig into that a little bit. We need a different style. However, this one does appear like it could work. It would just be angled. I think the other problem that we're going to run into is that's right where the intercooler pipe needs to go. So we are not done with our dual pump woes yet. I did put the valve cover and everything back on. Since this is outside, I want to keep it clean. We're going to go ahead and start hooking up our fuel lines to our distribution block and our harnesses and stuff, just to get all of that kind of buttoned up, so to speak. And then from there, I need to put converter bolts in it. That's not dire, though. We can move it around without that. So we can put that in. I think I might just do a parts trip real quick. Go get that alternator. Go get the power steering pump. Hopefully a local place has it. I also wanted, the reason why we didn't weld our wastegates in, I just wanted to make sure that our gates were going to be in a good spot. I think they will be. RIP to our heater core. That's probably not getting hooked back up. Maybe not. And then we got to figure out where to mount this oil filter assembly. So if you guys look at this, the radiator goes straight down. We'll have the alternator here. So originally I was thinking about maybe putting it under the radiator over here. I also thought about maybe mounting it over here. I'm not sure yet. I probably should put the bumper on and see. But if my memory serves me correctly, the bumper isn't as big of a deal as I think it is. It's more so this radiator that is the issue. So we can't oil prime this. We can't start it or anything until I get the oil filter housing mounted and all of the lines made. But at least it's in. Our fire pump lowering springs are definitely lower. I can tell you that without a doubt. So we're getting there little by little. All right, so after much struggle, new alternator in, pigtail ordered. I got all the fuel lines hooked up over here. Honestly, the fuel lines turned out pretty sweet. They're all down here now, running here. Got my fancy little doobobber there. I honestly could probably get rid of all this and just go straight 90, but we'll leave it for right now at least. Actually, you know what? The more I look at that, the more I probably should just go straight 90. And we got all of our wiring and harness hooked up. Power steering is going to be on hold for right now. That does not prevent us from cranking or getting oil pressure and firing up the truck for the first time. So I wanted the alternator in here mainly because I needed to know what obstacles we had left. Power steering pump's more ironed out. So yeah, it's just been a lot of wiring. We also got to grab our electric water pump harness, which is conveniently tucked right here. Run that over for our electric water pump. And we also need to hook up a few sensors and change the route. So originally our oil temperature used to come over here too. Now this wire's got to get pulled out and go down there by the starter. And then these two will still come over here. These are the oil pressure sensor and the interstage boost. And we did get our 10 O-ring boss fitting drilled and tapped for 1/8 inch national pipe thread and put our oil pressure sensor right there. So we will know essentially how much pressure this is making, which will make it easy to adjust because we do have an adjustable regulator. Kind of just chipping away at the old girl here. Not too much going on today. Really the big hurdle is getting this in the truck, bolted in, and continue soldiering on. We'll get our map sensor plugged in so that way this thing will at least idle decent. And it's all coming. There's so much more room over here. This catch can, I'm pretty sure, is going to go back that way. Our power steering reservoir can either go right here or over there, but I kind of want to free this area up in this corner. I've honestly kind of contemplated putting our oil filter over here as well. It's just so big. Like, it's ridiculously large. The other idea we had is running it back there. However, anytime you got to pull the trans, it'll be in the way. So I don't know, we're kind of going back and forth. I thought about even mounting it on its side, like kind of up in here, but there's just not a lot of room, and you don't want really long oil lines. So it's kind of a double whammy on this old girl here, trying to figure out where to put the oil filter housing. Again, I don't know if we needed it, but I wanted it, and now it's on there, and I don't feel like going through all the hassle of swapping back over, so I guess we'll deal with it. I'm just gonna wrap this one up here. Got a lot of thinking to do, and peace and quiet, I guess, is what I'm after. So that's where we'll leave it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Got the motor stabbed. Did a lot of the odds and ends before we threw it in there. Really glad I remembered the diaper. That was crucial. I'm excited that our turbos are here because we can move right into fabrication. The weather has broken for us to where we don't have rain for another week and a half. So I think I'm going to capitalize on that and basically get this thing cranked up, do the break-in, single turbo, move right into fab work, and hopefully get this thing spooled up here pretty soon. Getting pretty anxious to do something with it besides work on it. So give this one a big thumbs up, drop your comments down below, subscribe if you're not already, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the next one.